on. Oh god. Okay. Good morning, people of the universe. On tonight, June 30th, 2018 CE, 21st century of the third millennia, and so. Today, we have breaking news coverage of baby ran over an airplane. In other news, I'm starting my YouTube channel. So, this channel is going to be breaking into three categories. This spirituality, which is basically what the government is hiding. Please don't censor this. And in parentheses. Now, the second category will be, I don't know if it's going to be gaming, and the other one will, I'm going to save that for a new category I might just make myself. I don't know. But, yeah. What else? Okay. So, today, I'm officially starting my channel. You may not know who I am. Those of you who are subscribed to the Healing Medium probably might know me, but you never normally see me on camera, but now I'm getting out of my shell. So, my schedule probably might be a video every 2 nights. Well, actually every 2 days until I go back to school in August, so that's actually. So for this month or two is going to be in the mornings. I don't know if it's in the noon time. Probably when Mom might be in charge of the recording. So the universe, those of you who are atheists or religious, saying that basically the religions that were telling us that God was a person, that's misconception. So God being a person is a misconception. In reality, he's everywhere. He's an entity of energy. And basically we all emanate from something called a photon, which was at the beginning of dawn of time, 14 so and say billion years ago. 14 billion years ago, scientists said 14 billion years ago, 13.8, I don't really know when. So, back then, everything was in a tiny space. So everything is connected, right? Hopefully some of you understand that. I probably might only get 4 views, but it's worth it. So, so having, everything in a tiny space. So, let me, make a comparison so you guys can picture. So, if you try to eat it, you can't do anything with it. You'll just disintegrate into, literally almost nothing. It's probably just pure energy. Not the correct way to enter rainbow body. And rainbow body is the body, basically, you meditate for 13 years straight, uninterrupted. I don't know how people do that, really. And then, people, they stay in the positive meditative state for 13 years, and they turn into energy after that. And they also avoid reincarnating. So they're basically kind of like angels, except they're up there forever, which would actually be amazing. But I don't think I can do it that long, sorry. If it only took me like 2 minutes, that would be great. But sadly, I can't do that. Can any of you, my 4 viewers, no? Okay. No comments. But, anyway, so expansion, if you guys ever heard from the Big Bang Theory, or if you're religious, you probably don't believe in expansion, but besides, I'm going to go on the scientific side. So the scientific side is that the universe was expanding from that emanated dot thingy. So, and people, no, not the little universe, which I was talking about a second ago, was a little point of energy. There was no exact position in space where it was just, I can't grasp that part. It was just everywhere. Not everywhere, but just there. I wouldn't say the middle, I wouldn't say the edge of space, it was just there. There was no outside. So, there's a lot of people that believe the universe is infinite, but we're going to get into that maybe sometime later. But, the, how long has it been?
5 minutes.
Okay, so people, I mean, not people, like, people believe that the universe was, that believed in this thing called dark matter because they did not know, uh, what was causing the universe to expand. I mean, dark energy, the thing that was causing the universe to expand. When in reality, it turns out that's a misconception. There's the sacred geometry thing. Those of you who watch Geo might know what it is. So the sacred geometry, or those of you who meditate might know what it is. The sacred geometry is basically the DNA of the universe. So that's the universe's DNA. The universe is a living organism. What do you think of that? So the universe expands from that little point. So this is how everything was created. Yes, God is real. He exists, definitely. He's everywhere. He was the outside. I haven't talked about that another time, but God was all that energy that was there, that existed. Then, so this is how it started. God had to become aware. God is the infinity outside of it. And there's no exact place, it was just everywhere. So, if it's everywhere, it means like infinity. And God wanted to know stuff. Basically, the most important thing ever is knowledge. It's the meaning of life, basically. So we're going to experience. He wanted to experience things. Sorry, that's my background person. That's there. And you might know her from the healing medium, but anyway, let's not get all too off topic. Anyway, I'm already 7 minutes into this, so I better hurry up. So, the universe was created and this tiny dot. That's what consists all the light. And yes, light was the first thing that ever existed back then. And science is rejecting it, even though it's already true. There's more scientific evidence that proves the universe existed before the Big Bang than didn't. It's pretty obvious now. I can tell you, obviously. Oh, we'll get to that later. And the universe started expanding. God manifested this expansion. And you might know this phrase, let there be light. And yes, and God was in that always in a meditative state. He knows everything. He knows everything that's impossible and that is possible. And everything impossible is possible. We just don't realize, and it's hard for us to grasp that or believe it. Words. And then the universe continued expanding. And since everything is a living organism, things grow. Humans grow in and out, in and out, up and out. And the universe is actually doing both. However, back then there was no such thing as up, so it's growing out. And not like a person gets fat, like a universe growing from one point. And the universe was that one photon. It was emanating from that single photon, which proves that there is a center of the universe. It's somewhere far away. The sound was expanding. The sound, all in light, are connected. So without light, sound wouldn't exist. Without sound, light wouldn't exist. They're technically the same thing, except we perceive it differently. And that's why we hear sounds whenever there's gamma rays somewhere else. sound comes from light. Light is the matter, and matter is a misconception. It's all light. What? And yeah, the universe is growing even today. And there's also the theories that science is making, what is why they think that the universe is going to keep expanding faster and faster. When in reality, I know this, not believe this, the universe is expanding in a steady state, always and always will be. And then life continued to prosper on new planets. However, the stars that existed back then only lasted literally minutes relative to us. If we ever existed back then, probably not. Probably it's a different species. In making planets impossible for a billion years until, well, there were, and there weren't as many massive stars like that. And yes, people have been disclosing this in movies, video games, and other stuff. I'll get to that next video in 2 days, but if not tomorrow, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Probably tomorrow, but and if not, I'm not streaming tomorrow. And and then I'm going to, well, in the universe today, if the laws created by God have always been there for infinity, and time is a misconception. All if you thought about things about the time was the fourth dimension, it's not. Basically, we're living. The fourth dimension is other realities. And when the universe expanded outward, realities were spontaneously created by that, which was known as the multiverse. So everything emanated from that. We're the main universe. But they're connected to all the others because, you know, how they're called alternate realities, parallel universes. But some of those universes quickly got really, really different. And relative to where all the atoms and particles were shifting around subatomically, like 10 to the 500th power realities were created like every second. Let's say that in comparison. And each of them were very, very different. And then, um, God. So if you're wondering, if there's so religions believe that the universe, like the world in the universe, were created 7,000 years ago. That's a misconception. What we're actually getting at is human civilization, modern human civilization prospering from 7,000 years ago, not the universe and the world. That's not a metaphor, but what's it called? Well, something like that. You guys will find it in Gia if you watch that. But you can spell Gia Gaia. What time is it? Oh, and then time is the illusion. But if it's an illusion, why is the universe expanded outward in the first place? Because it's very simple. The past, present, and future are happening all at the same time. And also, there's this thing, if you guys are afraid of death, be no more. There's an afterlife, and it's beautiful. Not that I remember being there, but well, I do, I just don't know what it looked like back there. Back there. Back then. Time is a place. Okay, so there's also these things that time loops. If you guys watch the X-Men, you would already know that a time loop may not happen all across the universe, but it could happen across the universe relative to you. So let's say you're sent back through time. This point is right, 2018, and then you're teleported back to 1994. Hopefully, you guys are older than that. And well, actually, go back to 2004, 2014. That's better. And then, but let's say, but the problem is that you won't remember what happened. Well, what if you don't remember what happened in 2018? The same thing will keep repeating over and over again until you eventually get sent back again It'll basically be an infinite loop. Unless someone interacts, which is not going to happen, because they don't know what's going on. Only you would. It'd be a very strange concept. Any of us could be stuck in it. If you're afraid of that, well, it's actually dangerous. And if you don't die before that point, which you won't, then you're basically gonna be stuck in that terror forever. So that's why I would not prefer making a time machine or like send your consciousness back like that. However, in reality, we will remember what happened before we were sent back because we, the past, present, and future, as I said, are all connected. They're all one. It's foreverness, oneness, and timelessness. And that's exactly what the astral realm is. And the astral realm is the afterlife. However, you've heard the phrase, heaven is here with us, because when you leave your body, you basically are able to travel galaxies and do a whole bunch of stuff like that. Travel other dimensions. This is not a Rick and Morty sitcom. This is like reality. Because all those TV shows like that were there to disclose information about it so we can think outside the box. And yes, Futurama did the same until it got canceled the second time. And then, and also the universe. There's other universes, so why are we saying the universe? Because the universe and the God are all one, like all the other universes. Starting to have Alice in Wonderland syndrome, seeing you being smaller, like this, all of a sudden after staying in one, say having the eyes in one position for a while. Those of you who have that, it can be a little problem, but it happens. And yeah, that can also be symbolic. So I don't know what it means. If it happens in a dream, then well, that'll change things a lot. So yeah, we're also going to be talking about dreams for a few minutes until we finish the video. So dreams, if you guys are wondering, and also the coincidences are fake. Like things never happen randomly. This also explains why people don't experience stuff only till 4 months after some event happens. However, that event, what happened relative to other people's consciousness until yours, and then you started experiencing it right when you became aware of this event. And yeah, that's why stuff very rarely happens unexpectedly. So there you go. I just proven everything. No coincidence. So yeah, and you'll start getting into dreams for a few minutes. So dreams. Recently, I had a dream that my grandpa, a few months, basically my great grandpa passed away a few months ago, back in October 18th. It was a sad day. Then, a few months later, I had a dream about him that all along, that mom I think said in the dream, I don't know where or when, but mom said in the dream that grandpa all along was sleeping, but I found out before she told me. So he did not really die. Death is an illusion. I don't even think they use it, the extraterrestrials, if they use it in their vocabulary. I don't even think anyone that's fourth density knew it in their vocabulary. I'm gonna talk about the densities in the next video. I just forgot about what else to about the next video, but we'll find out soon. So he did not really die at all. He was transcended. His soul left his body while his body was suffering. God wanted him back up there because the information he was giving off, well, I wouldn't say he was giving off too much information, but I think it's because I don't know what happened, but maybe his time came, like everyone's time comes, because people's health, well, If we did not use alcohol and drugs, well, lives would be a little longer. When I mean a little longer, I mean like 200 years, 300 probably. But if we were meditating, it would be like 900 or 1,000 years. Actually, I have to try that. But I really don't want to live too long because I have a spirit realm to visit in the future. But yes, but when I mean visit, I mean live there. Basically, we live everywhere. Homes are a misconception also, since basically it's a man-made misconception. We live everywhere. We own everything. God owns everything. Everyone else owns everything. It's just humanity. It has the illusion of protection and reservation, which we have been having for a while. Ever since we were, well, we weren't cavemen back then because we were fourth density people. Get rid of Charles Darwin. So since you are atheist, please don't in this video. So, so hopefully this helps your minds a bit, for my viewers, for about 4 people. That's it. And yeah, yes. Anything else to talk about? For a couple more minutes, I'm going to be talking. So, yes. So yeah, God is everything. We're all part of Him. He's part of us. Basically, it's all one. Life is an illusion. We are just sent here to experience. Things happen only relative to everyone's consciousness. And a bug got eaten outside our field of view because that bug was conscious and something ate it. He was aware that was going to happen. He manifested it out of fear. Fear. Fear is the negative. The positive is part of God. The negative branches off from God. And we are there to fight it as it rots off and passes on into good. The good never is destroyed. That's how Napoleon and Hitler always failed to invade Europe. For some odd reason, they failed all the time. That's why evil always fails to reign supreme. It's because it's a rotting corpse. Basically, it left the source, and when it leaves the source, it decays. Kind of like a part of a leaf that branches off from a tree is cut off from a tree and it rots. And that's exactly what evil is. And that explains why it would be impossible for Hitler to win World War II and for Napoleon to win its war that it fought to take out Russia, yeah. And yes, Russia was that good that existed back then. Britain was that good. However, even though we might have won World War II, the Cold War, if you guys are aware, is a misconception. It's faked. It was faked by both of our governments to induce fear, which also explains why we never had World War III during that Cold War. Because if it were a real hatred, World War III would have started like 70 years ago. Literally that long ago. 1946. And yes, that would have been. But reality, if World War II ended, what was supposed to happen was that we were supposed to support each other. The world peace should have already started back then, but for some odd reason it didn't want to happen. We were stuck in this third density field around the planet Earth to keep us from reaching that. And this also explains, even though you guys know this stuff, there's always a sense of doubt that we might not go somewhere when we die. Even I'm having a little bit of that. When in reality, we do go somewhere. All the religions taught us wrong. We were brainwashed. Everyone was brainwashed. All the people that are running the religions are branching off from the source. And there's also the illusion of hope. Hoping does not help. Knowing helps. Dreams are more sensitive than, well, this world that we're in. Which also explains why when we know stuff in a dream, it happens. Or believe at least. But in reality, when we know stuff, it can be harder for it to happen, though. But because we are limited, thinking that this is reality, and not very much stuff happens in it. But when and hopefully that helps all 4 of you viewers, and by the time we all ascend, probably next year, since there's a solar flare and the polar shift is happening, You guys are going to feel it now. So I'm preparing some of you for this. And yes, we are going to ascend into the fourth density. Don't confuse density with dimension, please. A lot of people do because it's 4D. There's a difference. The fourth dimension is that there's other realities, higher realities, which with higher densities. The higher densities, which are part of dimension, are basically knowing, relearning all this knowledge. We're not learning this stuff; we are relearning it. We were putting in temporary amnesia the second. I'm not trying to measure time, but I'm trying to get it right. Right, the snap in which we're born in. Like, if you guys do remember your birth, which probably you don't, you might have felt a snap, the end of a snap. Remember hearing it and then forgetting everything. But no, you can't remember before that. That's the veil. And it's hard to get yourselves out of it because there's always doubt. But by the time we reach fourth density, we're going to get the words coincidence and death out of our dictionary. We're going to rewrite the dictionaries. We are going to rewrite history. We're going to reset the calendar. We are going to reset all the governments. We're going to reset all of our knowledge to knowing everything. We're going to change and also um the uh the day and night schedule thing is going to change. The cycle is going to change. The sun's going to be rising at 4 a.m. and the sun is going to set at 7, if not 6 p.m. If not a little earlier or later than that, somewhere around that. But that's never going to settle for a few years. It's going to be fluctuating a little bit because the Earth is going to have its wobbles. It's still going to feel that energy. And we're going to feel that energy for a few years until we get used to it. And the problem with knowing everything is that you will eventually get used to it and you're going to want to ascend more. And that's a good thing. And that's why we get bored of video games. That's why we get bored of stuff. It's because we want to learn more. And it's always good to learn more. We are ascending fifth density. So the fifth density people are more advanced than fourth density. They know more. They know way more. They can physically levitate off the ground more than the fourth density people can. And yes, and when in sixth density, it's basically being a pure light body and actually living off the ground, living in space, not even needing a planet. Seventh density is no longer needing a body anymore. You're pure spirit. You're kind of like an angel. They're astral beings, if you don't know that. Astral realm is basically heaven. Christianity called it heaven. In reality, since all gravity is basically the pull, and since there's other planets out there, and since everything floats, it's kind of obvious that there's no gravity in the astral realm. Possibly, unless you manifest a planet for people to, as their astral people to visit and basically live there in your astral realm. And you can also choose to reincarnate, which I'm going to get in there later. And yes, and also, if you guys are afraid of insulting God, well, guess what? You can't. He he won't care. He will care. It's just he cannot be insulted. He's always forgiving. He's a forgiving entity. He can only feel joy. He's the most advanced ever in everything. He is everything. And basically, I'm not even going to mention the word time anymore on this channel. I'm not even going to ask what is the time. And yes, and that's, I'm going to add in another 2 or 3 minutes, though. I don't want to give it too long. I get anxious, though. But oh well. And yes, time. ugh, I have a habit of saying that. Please don't dislike this video. Disliking this video will uh result in oh dang, I can't get an excuse. Karma. Bad karma, I tell you. Okay. Viva la karma. Okay. So the sun, if you're wondering, the sun is if you if you've been experiencing any disruptions on the internet in the past few days, please put in the comments below. Please tell me, and I might answer those comments. I don't know if I might, since well, I might only have 4 viewers, as I said. They probably not have any comments on my video, so viewers in my video, so we probably may not have any comments yet, but soon I might. So yes, as far as history goes, history is a completely different than what we thought it was. We are brainwashed into what?
The sun.
The sun.
The sun.
The sun um is giving off solar energy, solar radiation, which is going around the planet. Thank goodness we have a big electric field which is protecting us. Things might go a little bit through the poles, which is going to cause the network disruption. And it's also going to cause the electric field to vibrate a bunch, like a bunch of bumps on it, so all frizzy, and things going everywhere, and stuff going shaking, like vibrating, and waves are going through it. And that's what's causing it all these network dysfunctions. And if your computer crashed yesterday, blame it on the sun. Who cares? Blame it on the universe. Universe, I blame you. Well, my computer didn't crash, but blame you for breaking their computers. The universe just reached through the window and grabbed their computer, going, eh. Well, not really though. so, so the illusion of hope, the illusion of time, the illusion of history of what we thought it was, they're illusions. Yeah, you gotta believe me. And there's also and the problem is the doubt you guys have is related to the idea that there's other religions out there that are dissing us. But that's because we are stuck in that kind of mindset. But we have to know the truth. And the only way to know the truth is to be forgiving and to actually, well, watch these videos. And this is the truth. This is not a religion. This is not a random belief people made up to make people feel better. This is not a random belief. This is the truth. We're not trying to combine all the religions. We're trying to know the truth. And it's hard to believe that also. But you guys, I can guarantee you that when my grandpa died, he felt a snap 2 seconds, like 4 seconds before he passed away. And he was like, and I can also tell you guys that before you die, you will feel a vibration. You will feel like as if there were two different the same reality was like splitting in half, kind of vibrating in half. One half would have been like misty, and the other half real. Kind of while your eyes are closed, you would also see that. You would see that effect, which will pull you out of your body, while 30 milliseconds before, or sometime a little bit right whenever your body decays back into the ground, and that's explained. And when it decays into the ground, the minerals from it are going to be processed into the ground. It's going to be the ground. It's going to be merged with it. But in reality, everything is already one. We see it as separate entities. And then when that Earth decays, that all those minerals are going to also into the sun. Well, I'm giving off examples. And when the sun comes apart, all that's also going to go somewhere else. And basically, its journey as that kind of matter is going to, light is going to go all over the place. And yes, it's going to be with the universe because it's not part of it already. And yes, when the body decays, it also becomes part of the universe, but in a different kind of way. It takes time. And then while we're already out there, and when we're out there, do we see time, or is everything frozen? Or uh, What do you think it is, Mom?
Everything's happening all at once.
Everything's happening all at once. But we can go into one of those points in that time and let it happen relative to what we once saw it. Yeah. Kind of like how Paul visited me in that dream. So if he was visiting me in that dream, was he like laying next to my bed, or was he like
He could have been anywhere.
probably inside my body, or I mean inside my? He was visiting me like telepathically, not inside my body. That's weird. Well, but it could be anything could be that way. Yeah, and probably in my brain. But if you guys are aware, astral projections. If you're also aware to like make time longer, make the video longer, but it's worth it. And basically, the astral projections are in basically there's a lot of scientific rejections against astral projections because they don't know what they are. But astral projections already prove the truth already. We already and that's what's causing us to already know everything already. That's the truth. Where there's a God and there's also an afterlife. So why would if it's not true, then what is? What's the point? Hate to be a Rick. And then yes, the astral projections are the physical mind traveling outside the body. The actual mind literally traveling out the body. What do you think of that, skeptic?
Consciousness. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think of that, skeptics?
Mhm.
So yeah, and when it's traveling out the body, it can go anywhere. You can even visit the astral realm. But the problem is that whenever you're traveling in like let's say Earth, let's say that you're stuck on Earth because you're afraid to go to space because you're just scared for some reason. But that's the fear of the unknown that I even suffer from that a little bit. It's fear of the unknown, Idas. New disease. New disease, I'm naming it. Yes, you got doctors.
And I
And,
believe that there is a disease on this planet.
yeah, there's a disease on this planet of evil.
Mhm.
Evil is the disease, and God is the cure. But we are not meditating for it to be fixed. But also the illusion that God escaped us, God left us. But that's a misconception. God, because you're part of God, and why would you abandon yourself? That would not make any sense. If you were to abandon yourself, and for God to abandon this point in space or whatever, everything in this point in this area would decay, and it would basically be nothing, and perhaps not even nothing, because nothing is part of God also. So, brain spell, brain spill. So yeah, I'm also gonna have to finish this video in about 30 to 45 seconds. Not a minute, probably, or two. But I'm gonna also wrap it up a little bit. So, yes, you can always follow me next video tomorrow, if not the next day. I don't know when Mom's streaming. She's unpredictable. So subscribe to me if you want. Like the video. Please let there be more than 4 views so people know. So also follow. I don't know if I have a follow if I can be followed yet. I'm not on Facebook. I hate Facebook.
And follow the healing
Media.
channel 1111 also on YouTube.
So follow the healing channel. So I'm also telling. So now that people are going to find Mom's channel, but they're basically finding Mom's channel by watching me. So that's gonna help her growth by twice as much, and help her get the income she needs, and also get the information out there. But also to mention that I'm not. It's not just gonna be universe stuff on my channel. I might do some gaming also, and also some skits. I don't know what I'll do. But we're gonna find out tomorrow, if not the next day. Probably tomorrow since Mom is unpredictable. Literally, we have free will,
Mm-hmm.
unless you could read minds. We're gonna get to that tomorrow. So yes, we're gonna see you guys later, and Jonathan out.